Hello, hello. This is Frank Klesitz with Vyral Marketing. I want to welcome you to watching another interview where I interview a client of our company to learn how they're getting business, how they're making money, how they're actually using the product, rounding up their database, sending out educational videos, communicating regularly, and how it's making people money, specifically in real estate. I want to introduce you to Tiffany, who's one of our great clients for a long time in Nashville. So if you're thinking about hiring us, or you're struggling, or your client wants to get better, so basically that's everybody. They just want to know how to actually use the product and actually work with us so it produces returns. I'm going to try to extract all that information today out of Tiffany. So, Tiffany, thank you for being on the deposition seat by me today. I appreciate
Right.
it.
Yes, I'm here to be subjugated to all the
Yeah.
questions. Bring them on.
So, you've been a client for quite some time. When did you sign up again? How long have
Oh
you been working with
gosh,
us?
I don't even remember. I mean,
Years.
it was definitely 2018, maybe even 17. So
Yeah.
a long time.
Tell me why you made the decision to fork over money to us. What was the problem and the need that we were able to solve at the time, and still probably better than most people for you at that time? Take us back to that stage and decided you needed to do what we execute.
Well, for the money, I mean, we were doing it ourselves, but we were spending so much time on it that for the money, it's a no-brainer to me to have somebody else handle it. Because we didn't have trouble getting something out every month. We did all of that ourselves, but it took so much manpower to make it happen. And so outsourcing it just made a lot of sense for us.
Yeah. What were you doing originally before hiring us?
We were sending out a newsletter that we created, an e-newsletter that we created from scratch every month that included activities, an article, um, one of our properties, just some general information about things around Nashville.
How many people did that go to?
Oh, however many people were in our database at the time, maybe 4,000 people,
How long have you been selling real estate, Tiffany?
since 2009. So almost 11 years, 12 years.
And that why did you start a newsletter? Why even invest the time into sending things out like that
Well,
with
I
marketing?
mean, that's how you've got to stay front of mind. Like, I mean, the statistic is I think your mom forgets what you do every 4 days or something like that. So you cannot expect your clients to remember what you do. So making sure that you're constantly in front of them with value, like we were giving them information that they may want, free things they could do around Nashville. Um, and reminding them just a little ding ding ding, hey, don't forget we sell real estate. Ding ding ding, hey, we're really good at this too. But just constantly reminding them. And when you think of real estate, you need to think of Tiffany and her team.
So you're sending out before us just one monthly email? Anything else?
We sent postcards as well, but virtually that was all that we were sending out.
Okay.
Digitally, that was the only thing.
And that went to a list of 4,000 every month?
I think so. I can't honestly remember how
Yeah,
many
it's been a
people there
while.
were. It's been a
Okay.
long time.
So you said, hey, I think I need to step up our game a bit, or that newsletter was taking a lot of time. How did you hear about us?
Um, I had some friends who were using you who had talked about you. I had taken one of your classes before as
Oh, good.
well. And yeah, I just knew people who were having success with your company. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So you jumped in and you decided to get on a video. Were you using video before in your newsletter?
I no, I wasn't at all. The funny thing is, so I actually went to film school, but I wasn't using video in my business because my bar of video was like I couldn't afford that. I couldn't afford my friends to make videos for me, um, and so I just was doing nothing. And so this gave me a way to start using what I knew how to use well easily. It just made it so easy to use video.
Well, were you concerned? That made it easy for you to get on video. I mean, were you still a little nervous about making the first videos and send them out to 4,000 people you knew at the time?
Oh, well, sure, of course. I mean, like, I didn't go to film school to be in front of the camera.
Yeah, to be behind the
I,
camera.
I know how to be behind the camera. So, oh, for sure. Um, and I mean, he makes it so easy with here's a good example. Here are the questions you should answer. Like you don't have to come up with anything yourself if you don't want to. You just have to sit down in front of the camera and do it, which is half the battle, just like picking up the phone is half the battle.
So you do that. You schedule a time once a month ideally, to record 2 quick videos. And we record them right. Do you use a webcam or do you do them differently? How do you do the recordings?
The same as right here. I mean, I sit in front of my computer. I've done different iterations. We had a little camera we used, and that was too complex. And then
Yeah, the
now I
webcam looks
have
fine.
well, this is a Logicam
Logitech.
edition in Logitech. There you go.
Mhm.
That's added onto the computer. I've got a light. You can see it in my glasses over
Got
there.
it.
And yeah, this is what I do. And actually, I just recorded my videos for this month before I got
Good.
on here.
So how do you come up with the topics that you want to send out to everyone to actually find relevant?
So I literally pay attention to the questions. So like on our team, the agents will add to this form the questions that they get more than once. Number
Oh,
one,
that's brilliant.
that's interesting to know because if you get the questions multiple times, you know what the public is asking, and you can get ahead of it with your marketing, or you can get
So
ahead of
hang
it.
on. So you created a form. What's this form? You give it to, how do you get submissions on this again?
Through the agents on my team. So when they get like when they're talking to leads or talking to clients, because we do it with clients too, if they hear the same question twice, they go and enter it in this form. And then we look at, is this a marketing question that we can answer, or is this something we do need to change in our systems so that the client doesn't have to ask the question, we've already answered it for them. Because we think if we're being asked, there's an opportunity to get ahead of that question.
That's great. So how many questions do you get that are being asked twice regularly?
I mean, I think when I looked at my form for before I made the video this morning, I had like 6 new questions that got asked at least twice to the same person.
And that's how you guarantee a relevant video.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong with that, huh?
Yeah. It's
That's great.
it's very current.
So how do you know the answers?
Well, that's the 11 years, I think.
Oh yeah, that's the 11 years and you actually know it.
Yeah.
Do you do much research at all, or are you just able to nail the answer?
Oh no, I can pretty much nail the answer. If I want to talk about statistics, like sometimes I'll talk about what's actually happening in the market. You know, we track that and I'm going to look up the numbers to make sure that I'm really talking about real numbers. But if they want to know, like the one I answered today was what's the difference between a cash offer and a financed offer?
Could you pull up some of the questions and share them?
Yeah.
Pull some up. I want to hear some of the questions right now at the time of this recording of August 2021 in Nashville. What are the questions that your agents are hearing more than twice that the market wants to know that you want to send out answers to?
So I know that like one of them was cash versus financing. What's the real difference in those offers? Then this one's on here a couple of different times. If I sell my home in the current market, how fast can I expect to find my next house? Or will I be able to buy a new home after I sell this one? That one's on there a few times.
Mm-hmm.
What's a competitive offer look like in a hot real estate market? If I can't pay above asking, is there any hope? What should you know before selling off market?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the highest you've seen a house go over asking that you've personally dealt with?
$115,000.
Over asking that they just wrote out saying I need this house?
Yeah.
And out of towner?
It was a $400,000 house. So it was 25% over asking.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's the market.
Yeah.
All right. So these videos go out to your database. All right.
Yep.
I think we give you the people who click and watch them.
Yeah.
That's going to change, by the way. Pay attention to Apple's new iOS 15. You won't be able to track opens anymore. And people are going to be able to have like fake email addresses they can create to opt into stuff. So
interesting. I wondered how that was going to affect it, because knowing that you can't track email anymore.
Yeah. I mean, you still want to pay attention to the clicks. I mean, the opens are one thing. I want to know who's actually clicking through and engaging. That'll still be able to be tracked because there's interaction, I think.
Right.
But yeah, it just always goes back to getting permission from people, like for their real email address and have consent.
Well, but that's what I love about how you start in your system.
Oh yeah.
You start with this really big, so long email that is asking people to opt in to receiving the emails. And so you know that people want the content that you're sending, which is what I love.
There's a great book written by Seth Godin in 1999 called Permission Marketing. Mm-hmm. It was basically like, hey, if you actually want to send people marketing stuff, especially online, direct mail, email, anyone, but like online, need their consent and their permission. And it's just going to get more tightened up with that. And you see like the Facebooks and everything else have been just cramping down on like, we need to have permission. And as long as you're doing that, you'll have a fine list.
Yeah.
But you still get that list. Do you do anything with it?
Yeah. So our ISA, like looks up everybody who clicked and reaches out to anybody that we haven't like talked to in a little while. We kind of use it as a how have they interacted with us lately? And if they click on what's my home worth or something like that, they're going to automatically get a hey, we saw that you opened our email and wanted to see if you had any questions for us call.
How's that go? How's it help? Does that spark conversations?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Because usually when somebody is clicking that, they're not listing their home tomorrow necessarily, but you've got them on your nurture plan for the next 6 months, or you're able to ask them about their timeline. Or, we very often, oh, yeah, I'm thinking about selling in the next year or so. Okay, well, great. Let's talk about what you need to get your home ready to do that and just start offering value to them along the journey.
So the big thing was this was taking time, a lot of time before you hired us. Has this taken less time now?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Like what's your time commitment to get a good database touch program out to your list?
Well, I mean, I spent 20 minutes max recording my 2 videos this month. Julian, our director of operations, will proof the emails that come to us. I can't imagine and put together the database to send to you guys for the names. So, I mean, all in, there's no way we're spending an hour doing it.
For the whole month?
Yeah.
Oh, how much were you spending before?
Oh, I mean, somebody was spending a day probably.
You had to look it up, to write it, to proof it, to put an email.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well worth the money.
Thanks. Have you ever thought of bringing on sponsors or advertisers to help offset the cost?
So we have done that in the past. But again, it's not so much that we don't mind.
It's not worth your focus.
It isn't.
Yeah.
I'd rather have sponsors for our bigger costs, the events we do and stuff like that.
Okay. Well, why don't we share that? So Vyral is one piece of a larger strategy, I'm sure now. What is your complete database marketing strategy today?
So for our database, they're sectioned into, because we've got a lot of people in our database that come through our website, or, we might have a good email for them, we might not. And so we've got different sections of our database and how we market to them. At the most basic level, they get the opt-in option for your videos. Next tier up, we do for our spheres, the people that we've had some sort of interaction with. They're getting a piece of mail from us every month. They are getting a video twice a month from you guys. And then we do 4 events a year that they are getting an invite to. And so some of those are virtual, some of those are in person. And around each event, they're getting 2 phone calls to talk to us 8 times or hear our voices 8 times a year, plus get a piece of mail, plus get 2 emails a month.
Are you doing like seller and buyer workshops for the virtual events?
So we do that once or twice a year. That's not a huge part of what we do right now in our marketing, but we do it twice a year.
Got it. What are some of the titles of the events that you do? What are some of the excuses to bring people together? I'm curious, like in person.
Yeah, we do a lawn party every year, which is basically like just to hang out in a yard. It's my yard, and we had about 300 people this year come out for that. We get a food truck, and we do lawn games. We do an outdoor movie and all of that. We do a pie event for Thanksgiving, where we give away a pie, then come to our office and pick that up. We do a golden ticket event at one of our luxury listings throughout the year, where they can come and get a date night for something. We call it a golden ticket, and sometimes it's movie tickets, sometimes it's a gift certificate to
you let people have a date night in your luxury listings?
No, they come to the listing and pick up whatever that golden ticket is.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
For the date night. Because that way they get to come see an amazing house.
Yeah.
They get to see us as luxury listing real estate agents, and they get to go hang. And we make it a date night, so they come without kids. So
that's great.
What else do we do? Yeah.
That's a great idea. I never heard that.
The last thing that we do is we do a giveaway, we call it a reverse giveaway, where people call us to get entered into a drawing for something great. Like last year we gave away a weekend through Airbnb since nothing else was open.
Yeah.
And we're working right now on what we're going to give away, but that's usually fun too.
That's great. Those are cool ideas. I like the giveaways to get people to come to you. Aren't those great?
Yeah.
You know, so
Well, yeah,
so
it's
it's
an
not so
easy
much
call.
everyone's
Like,
coming together and you're throwing a party. It's just people are showing up to grab their giveaway. And you're getting all these face-to-face contacts that way. Right?
yep.
Cool.
And you can stagger the invitations so the right people are showing up at the right time. Like, it's super easy to make that a really quality contact.
Have you had any benefits from people finding you online? Like not so much like staying in touch with your database, but sellers researching you online and watching your videos, and or maybe someone magically finding your videos and contact you. Can you speak to any of those benefits at all if you had them?
Yeah, we actually had a listing appointment that we didn't know where they came from until we went to the appointment, and they were interviewing us and another agent, and the wife was friends with the other agent, but the husband was like, I want to work with this person, and found out at the appointment he had seen our videos online, and he's like, this person knows what they're talking about. Other realtors are just
How cool
like
is
they
that
just
feeling?
say things. I know. We didn't end up getting the listing because the wife's friend, but still,
It's hard
to
to
me,
compete.
that's it. Oh yeah, but it was a cold call from the internet, and we almost got it, almost, because of the videos. So it was an opportunity we wouldn't have had otherwise.
Yeah, I would send a link to your blog out to every single seller before you show up.
Yeah.
Say, watch all this stuff. Yeah.
That's a great idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sometimes you take your seller workshop too. Like if you teach your seller workshop, record it and send that to them before you show up.
Yeah, that's a great.
But you try to get them to spend as much time online with you before you show up.
Yeah, that way you've got the relationship. Because they think they know you. Every time they see you, they think
that's the
they
beauty
know
of video.
you, and that's perfect.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of time, and the only way to out rapport someone is just spend more time with them. But that can be done online.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything else we're doing for you at Vyral that you find a benefit?
I did your recruiting class as well, which the concept of
6 months of a class every single week for an hour for 6 months.
Yeah.
It's up on the website. I got 27 people in it right now I'm taking through.
And it's great. And the concept of an apprenticeship was the biggest takeaway. Like, I mean, you can do the same video marketing, all the stuff we've talked about with your database, you can do for recruiting as well. But the apprenticeship was one thing. Maybe I had that idea in the class, or do you talk about that?
No, I talk about it because I need to find marketers, and I couldn't find a marketer. So I had to train them from scratch. So I hired, I basically put out this idea that if you want to work part-time for me, minimum wage, I'll train you and everything. Yeah. And you'll work for me. And the market for that was strong.
And we were sick of the turnover on our team for real estate agents, because it's 80-90% are going to fail. And so for the new people that come onto our team, now they come onto an apprenticeship. And in that apprenticeship, they help us with, general office stuff, administrative tasks, running, but they also get on the phones. They also start lead generating so that we can see how they do as well as feel it. And then they could decide, do I really want to do this or not?
Yeah.
Before they're actually on the team, which then creates a whole nother dynamic when people are constantly leaving. So we saw it as an amazing way to stop the turnover on our team, and it has worked so well for us.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, there's a small segment of our customers that want to recruit. And up on our website, every 6 months, I start a new semester of class and implementing how do you use the tools of Vyral and the video to actually attract agents? But then it's the question, how do I effectively onboard someone maybe if they're not licensed? And I'm a big fan of an apprenticeship model, pay the very low hourly rate, make them do work so everything stays legal with employment law, part-time because they can't afford to live on that. They have another job they have to go to do, but they're looking for a way out, and generally hire in groups so you can take 2 or 3 people together as opposed to one. So the few people, stop, you haven't lost them all,
Exactly.
So I'm glad you remember that. That was a good lesson.
Oh yeah, it works really well. We love it.
Yeah. So return on investment. So you're spending $6,000-$7,000 a year to give us money to execute on these things. How do you know this is working for you and producing a reasonable return with the investment?
Well, I mean, you can look at the numbers here. I'll pull up like how much business have we gotten from our database, which isn't all this, but I was having a conversation with one of our agents and they were saying like, I don't know, like these people, I just must finally have hit it because they just keep calling me. And I'm like, they're not just calling you. They're calling you because we're staying in touch with them and reminding them, ding, 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 hey, you're in real estate. And so our agents say, oh, we just get all these random calls from people who think about us when they think about real estate. And I'm like, no, that's the marketing to your database that we do, that helps create that opportunity for you. So
So how much of your business comes from database?
it's about 60%.
And how many homes do you think reasonably conservatively you'll sell this year? We're halfway through the year.
So right now we have 123 closed and pending.
That's
So
incredible.
we'll definitely hit 200
It's like
this year.
70 of those came from just your database of people knowing you.
Yeah.
Not
Yep.
bad.
It's not bad. It's our, I mean,
What,
it's our number one
what other
source.
money do you spend on marketing for lead generation besides Vyral?
Our second biggest source is farming. So we have a geographic farm of a neighborhood where
How many houses?
it's about 1,700.
Okay. And you mail them every month?
We mail them every month. Yep. Evidence of success. And then we do we basically tie a lot of our events in. We'll have a neighborhood portion and then a client portion. Like the lawn, we added, I don't know, 15 people to our database who came to the lawn party that we'd never met before from the neighborhood because we invited the neighborhood too.
So how much business came from that 1,700 this year, do you think?
Um,
Those are mostly listings, I'm assuming.
Oh yeah, mostly listings for sure. Um, I don't know off the top of my head. Here, let me go to lead source.
How'd you pick your farm?
So I did not do it the right way. I'll tell you how to do it and then I'll tell you how I did it. So we've closed 16 deals so far from the farm this year.
Great.
So I live here and I wanted to work close to, like, I never commuting. I hate commuting. I hate it. And so I've always just lived close to my school when I was in college or lived close to my work. And so for me, it just made sense that I could go on a walk to my listing appointment as opposed to drive across town. And so that's how I picked the neighborhood. Now, thank goodness it had a good turnover rate because the way you should pick your neighborhood is a neighborhood that has at minimum 6% turnover rate. And luckily for me,
explain that.
Okay, so a turnover rate is you need houses to sell because basically, no matter how much marketing you do to gain the mind share of all these people, if they live in their home for the next 40 years, it doesn't matter that you've done a great job marketing to them. So you need to be working in a neighborhood that turns over, that people move out of. So turnover rate is the number of houses that sell every year divided by the number of houses in the whole neighborhood.
So there's 1,000 houses, 60 should sell.
Yes.
If there's 2,000 houses, 120 should sell.
Yep, exactly.
And what's the turnover rate in your farm of 1,700?
6.8%.
Lucked out.
I did. Oh, I got so lucky.
And I'll add one more in there. One agent doesn't have a large percentage of market share.
For sure. And just so you know, a large percentage is about 15 to 20%. They don't need to have 50%. If they've got 15 to 20%, they've got the mind share. So just know you're in for a fight if it's any more than that.
Yeah. Good for you. That's great. So database.
Yep.
A lot of listings. Farming, a lot of listings. What's another lead source you got?
So it's funny, this year, open houses has jumped way up for us.
Oh yeah. I mean, we've packed and a lot of this we probably have to sell before they buy.
Yeah, but it hasn't been historically that way for us. So I'll tell you why open houses has probably increased for us. With COVID, we put some protocols in place that means we had to get good contact information for the people who were coming in, which then means they were going into our database, funneling right into your system.
Mm-hmm.
And then we were staying in touch with them, which is probably why our return is better this year because we were getting real texts from clients to get access to the house, getting real contact information, and then able to stay in touch with them better.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Sum up. What does someone need to do? I want you to talk to a client at Vyral that is maybe struggling or someone that really wants to know how to maximize our service. Give them some key points. What do they have to do to maximize their time with us to get the most out of their database?
Yeah. I would say consistency is the number one thing of plan a time to do the stuff that you need to do so that then Vyral can do what they do to make it easy for you. So, you're going to need to download your database, you're going to need to record your videos, you're going to need to that's pretty much it. Record your videos and download your database. That's all you have to do.
Send your database in, make
Yeah.
your videos, keep growing your database like you're doing to your
Right.
prospecting and people calling you and your open houses by putting people into it.
Right.
And then you're also proactively, selectively reaching out because there's only so many calls an ISA can make.
Right.
You're making sure that they call the people who are engaging with the videos because there's opportunity there.
For sure. Like once somebody's clicked on what's my home worth or even just watching the video, it's a perfect reason to call them, even if it's out of the blue. You don't have to tell them, oh, I saw you clicked on my video, but just, hey, John, I've been about you and wanted to see if, whatever the last note you had in your database about them was, like, how's your son like in school, or how's your job, or whatever that catch up is that you want to have with them. It's the perfect reason to call, and they're already thinking about you, so it makes it an easy conversation.
That's great. Tiffany, thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah.
Thanks for 30 minutes to share your insights. You're doing great, and congratulations on your business in one of the most competitive markets. Just so you know, I just moved to Nashville. I am right down the street from Tiffany. I relocated from San Diego. I moved up to San Diego when I was 27, just from Nebraska. Spent basically the decade of my life there. But now that the kids are 5 and 6, we looked at all 50 states. And we try to figure out, where should we live? And we went through pros and cons of all of them. And the one that came to the top, less the bugs out here, is Nashville. And that's where I am right now.
That's right. And your son will love the bugs.
Oh, I'm sure he will. Yeah,
he'll think it's amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah, Nashville's great. We moved here, 19 years ago, thinking we were going to stay for 2 years and move on. So I can't say enough great things about it. So welcome.
Cool. Well, Tiffany, thank you so much.
My pleasure.